Shaq, what's going to take for one of these teams to gain an edge?
Well, when you got big on big, Ernie, it's about establishing dominance early. You got to get into that aggressive mindset.
The confidence running around the building.
Almost time to tip it off. Let's send it out to Kevin and Harlan and Rough and Tumble.
Welcome everyone to another presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan along with Greg Anthony and Brent Beard. David Aldridge will be reporting from the sidelines. Looking at San Antonio, they took the win in their last game against the Sacramento Kings. And they put it all together in that game and added up to a phenomenal win.
Their percentage from long range in that game was off the charts. Seemed like anytime the fans got a little hostile, they just started to take it up a notch from beyond.
Yeah, they silenced that crowd over and over with big threes, and everyone they hit fueled their own fire that much more.
Now, the opening lineup for the New Orleans Pelicans. Pondexter and Davis fill up the forward slots. Jordan Crawford out there with Holiday, and it's Cousins in at the 5 down low. And George kicks to Labissiere. Spurs passing it around. George, no good. Here are the Pelicans with the ball. Moving on after the tough loss they took at the hands of the Warriors.
And that was one that just got out of control for them. And when the lead got big, it almost seemed as if they just mailed it in.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm even going to go that far because I think it's a case of two teams on very different levels. And once they got into that big deficit, there's no way they were getting back into it.
And at this point of the season, Brent, it's still early, but you start to get a sense of how teams are going to play as the year goes on.
Always talk about that 30 to 35 game mark for coaches to figure out the roles of the new players and to see how far along the star players have come is a great opportunity for them to keep on that process and keep the growth moving forward.
One of the best parts of the season, really.
Well, when you look back for a championship team, Kevin, there are parts of the season that you can say are bookmark moments. This could be one of them.
San Antonio with the ball. 4-point game. 2 on the clock. Here's McCollum.
Great contest from AD there. Always a legitimate threat to throw it back.
And that putback about as easy a bucket as you're going to get.
And it's a result of the defense not doing its job in the low post, boxing out and preventing second chance.
Now, here's Cousins. He had an 18-point run in the last game against Golden State.
Yeah, but you can't talk about his performance without mentioning.
Oh!
Kevin, you say that point guard should look to pass first. I mean, not when you can finish like this, though.
Well, he wasn't going to give that opportunity up to a teammate.
And that's what we're seeing more and more. Point guards who can finish as well as they make the play.
And that last three-point pass on the field.
To be cautious when Labissiere is in the area. Those shot blocking skills are superb.
Pelicans shooting their first free throw of the game right now.
And just to mention, a season ago, they were very comfortable at the line, hitting about 78% of their free throws.
Leonard pitch to Embiid. Captured by Cousins. A 3 from McCollum. That's it. He's got 2 made now, and he's shooting 2 for 3.
That's a pretty release on the shot by McCollum. Just one of the reasons why he's become so confident from behind the arc.
Stolen by McCollum. In transition, here comes San Antonio. McCollum gets the ball. Leonard pitch to Embiid. And the foul called on Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, come on.
That'll be his second foul of the game.
That is a bad second foul there, guys. His team needs him to stay on the floor.
The Pelicans trail. Outside Holiday. Pondexter kicks to Holiday. Outside Davis. Cousins, no one around him. And the 3 off target. For San Antonio, they've gotten this 3 of their first just 9 shots to go down in this game. Leonard, no luck. And the Pelicans with the possession. And Holiday kicks to Crawford. Feeds to Davis. He dishes it to Pondexter. Back to Davis. High post Cousins. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Holiday with the 3. Good. And it's Cousins picking up the assist.
That three-point shot is a staple of Drew Holiday's offensive repertoire. He is always a threat to score from there.
This here gets to Leonard. There's the pick. George against Crawford. Shoots it. The shot by George, no good.
It looked like he was in rhythm to shoot that one, guys, especially as open as he was. He just claimed it. And look, the Pelicans are a solid offensive team. That's not where the problems have been. They're the best teams in the league as far as taking care of the basketball.
Embiid with a screen on Howard. McCollum kicks to George. Crawford with the steal. Pondexter from outside. It's all in by George.
Well, sometimes when you're that wide open, you start to overthink it, and it looks like that's what he did there.
Cousins against Embiid. A shot that time, not on target. Nice D from Cousins. And we've got an update here, so let's check in with David Aldridge reporting from the sideline.
Kevin, I was able to talk to Alvin Gentry a few minutes ago. It's the first matchup of the season against this team, and he knows that they have great shot blocking. But he did say we've got to remain aggressive and continue to attack. Put the bigs in high pick-and-roll situations and shoot the jumper with confidence. I feel that's the key, Kevin.
Thanks for getting back to us on that report, David. Guys?
You know, they obviously spent the brunt of their time preparing for this game by coming up with ways to attack that daunting defense.
Yeah, and it's really a challenge to try and find holes, gaps, and to score some points. So they give nothing to you that's going to be easy.
The Spurs making a switch here. Simmons is checked in. The Pelicans also changing it up. Dante Cunningham's checked in for Pondexter. E'Twaun Moore comes in for Jordan Crawford. And Tim Frazier subbed in for Drew Holiday.
At 6'11" and about 225 pounds, but this here is a long guy. Someone who uses that size to his advantage.
Well, people always say defense wins championships if you're running a team and trying to craft a lockdown squad. Brett, what are you actually looking for?
Do you have Kawhi Leonard's mobile number?
I've got it.
Yeah, that's
I'll pass it on. Yeah, it begins with Kawhi Leonard.
That's what I'm looking for.
Two-time defensive player of the year.
A great positional defender on the wing is an absolute must. And in the back line of defense, Kevin, is an interior defender who not only is a rim protector, but just a great position player. You look at Tim Duncan, and even in the latter stages of his career, he's able to put himself in spots on the floor where he knows he can be effective. Not about blocking the shot or taking the charge, but just in the way of the offense. So I always look for a guy on the back line who can bark out orders and hang around the rim to bother everybody coming his way.
I hear wingspan, I hear length. We talked about it in NFL secondaries. Length is such a big deal. And the NBA, that becomes just as important, if not one of the most important defensive tools.
Length, and then also knowing how to use that length.
Yes. And Cousins kicks to Frazier. Dishes to Davis. Rebound, San Antonio.
They've been needing a lot of those loose balls and rebounds here this summer.
A shot by George, wide open. It's good. This game is all even.
A good open look, and he sprays it home from 3.
And Moore kicks to Davis. Back to Moore. Cousins against Embiid. And Embiid with the block. Hanson with it, and there's the feed to McCollum. Here's Embiid. A fader. George dishes to Henson. Just 5 on the clock. And here's McCollum for 3. A shot. No good. Nice D from Frazier. He feeds it to Cousins. Basket counts. Cousins has got 8.
Well, he is a huge reason why they have this lead.
San Antonio's gotten just 2 of 6 to fall from 3-point range so far in the first. McCollum against Frazier. McCollum gets to Embiid. And Davis sends it back.
Love that D from Davis. Rises up and swats that shot away.
Pass to Frazier. He kicks it to Cunningham. No good on the triple. San Antonio trailing here. Collins passes to Hansen. Outside Brent. The dish to Embiid. And the officials whistle a foul on this shot. The bucket's good. He'll go to the line. Maurice checked in for McCollum. New Orleans also making some changes. Moniunas comes in for DeMarcus Cousins. And it's Hill in for Anthony Davis. Last season we had Kobe's retirement, but in the offseason we said goodbye to another legend, the terrific Tim Duncan. You know, Greg, there was talk he might hang it up, and he felt that he didn't have any more in him and called it a career after 19 incredible record-breaking seasons.
Yeah, and he retired in the most Duncan way possible. Just quietly let it happen in the midst of the summer. No farewell tour or any of that. A big hit to the game of basketball to see one of the all-time greats walk away. But arguably one of the best two-way players you've ever played the league.
San Antonio again missing. And here's Hill for three. That one's not going to go. So the Spurs will take it the other way. There's 38 seconds left to play in the first quarter. To the right side. Here's Murray. A shot's good on the assist by George. Murray's got himself on the board with 3 there.
How about the passing? They are moving the ball without any thought, without any individual agenda.
Frazier dishes to Moniunas. Lays it up and banks it in. Moniunas has got his first 2 points of the night. Now, here's George. He picked up 18 points in the last win against the Kings in Sacramento.
But what stood out for me was his gorgeous playmaking. I mean, over and over, he was finding his teammates in a great position to score.
A good close contest so far as we finish the first quarter. Spurs lead by 1. And we'll get the second quarter underway on the other side of this break. And we heard from John Henson before the game, a player on the rise. He feels he still has a lot to prove.
Defensively, offensively, I think I'm better offensively than people give me credit for, and I'm stronger than I look. And that's something that I'm trying to prove this year, as I've been proving the last 3.
Well, it sounds like he still feels like he has something to prove, Greg, but it seems to me he's already known for being that kind of guy.
Yeah, it's a great point. Anybody who plays against him knows he looks plenty strong when you're banging with him. But if he needs to push and motivate himself by playing with the chip on his shoulder, well, a lot of guys have gone a long, long way in this league using that method.
Well, up to this point, a closely contested game as we start the second quarter. And taking a look at San Antonio's performance here. What do you think they've been doing or not doing?
I tell you what, the scoring has come in threes for the most part here so far.
No kidding. Down that range. Now they can't stop pulling the trigger.
On the court right now, second quarter for the Pelicans. Quincy Conduct's drawn there with Hill. Then there's Jordan Crawford, then it's Holiday, and it's Moniunas in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. And it's sent back by George. Okay, well, let's check in with David Aldridge, who's reporting from the sideline.
Because we've seen DeMarcus Cousins become one of the elite big men in the NBA, dominant in the post, and even adding a three-pointer to his game. But at times, his temper is overshadowing his talent. Cousins says he's now turned a corner, saying, "My mind has grown. I understand the league better. I understand the politics of it. Now I'm becoming the professional I need to be. It took time." As he understands he now has to lead by example.
He wants to win, David. We know that. Thank you. Leonard, he's checked in for George. Free throw drops for Hill. Well, you look around the league and teams are starting to dig into the numbers and really analyze the game carefully. I know that you enjoy analytics. You've always been known yourself as an efficient scorer. When you take a look at the numbers, how do you see them? How do you interpret them?
I think there are some things that are very advantageous for players to take a look at with regards to how it is that they play and where they're most effective. Because one of the things, Kevin, it can sort of reestablish your confidence. And there can be spots on the floor where you get to where you might feel better because somebody's presented those numbers to you. I will tell you, Kevin, that probably the guy that I played with in the latter stages of my career that used the numbers the most was a guy by the name of Shane Battier. Shane loved to look deep into the books and try to gain some sort of advantage numerically and statistics-wise on his opponent. And really was one of the few guys that would go deeper than most.
Have analytics changed the game?
I believe so, but still for players, I think that they're a long way from being able to understand exactly what it is that the numbers are telling them. That time is coming where players really want to know those kind of things, and the tutorial sections between the coaching staff and the players, I think, are on the horizon.
Outside, Leonard passes it to Murphy. Two-end the run. Excellent D there from Holiday.
Yeah, thought process was after he hit that first three, he'd be in great shape, but he looks way off right now.
Hill gets to Pondexter. Nice passing here by New Orleans. And it's slammed in by Holiday.
Well played right there. I mean, there's no question who has the momentum.
Yeah, clearly on a roll now. Just need to keep doing what they're doing.
Right side, Leonard. Maniunas grabs the miss. Maniunas has got 3 rebounds now in this one. Again, missing Hill.
I didn't see that miss coming. I mean, he's usually been money from that range.
Here's Leonard. It's going by Hill.
What the come on? Are you serious?
By Hill. And the Pelicans lead by 10.
That's a quick bucket there. Solid in transition.
That's how you draw it up. Each guy doing his part. Beautiful pass break.
Murray the pass to Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard gets a slam.
Well, there are some ways to fire out your teammates. That right there is one of them, thanks to Kawhi Leonard.
And the Pelicans with the possession. They're on an 11-2 run.
Defense.
The pass by Hill.
And it just seems that every pass they make is leading to a score. Just great ball movement.
Murray dishes to a
I mean, I can pass.
and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Maniunas. Now let's take a look at how the shots have been divided up between 3-point shots and 2-point shots for the Spurs.
And they've got really good balance here. I mean, the 3-ball hadn't been the strongest weapon today for them, but I'd say keep the dose just about the same. Don't change the recipe. When you've got that open shot, you got to take it.
And San Antonio calls the first timeout of the game. And Brent, you look at how the Spurs played last season and any other season, they might have had the best record in the league.
Well, they did have the best record that Greg Popovich has had as a coach with San Antonio with 67 wins. And it was under the radar because of the Warriors' historic mark last year with 73. But it was the first time in history that the NBA had 2 different 35-win teams at the midway point of the season. It set up the stage for an epic showdown, and really some people let down that never happened.
So San Antonio going with an almost entirely new group here. Joel Embiid, he's checked in for Kyle O'Quinn. Brazier comes in for Henson. Paul George is checked in for Avery Bradley. And McCollum subbed in for Murray. And then for New Orleans, DeMarcus Cousins is checked in for Maniunas. And it's Anthony Davis in for Quincy Pondexter. 2 on the clock. It's going by Hill. Drops up. And Holiday throws it down.
That's a great drive for Drew Holiday, using that blazing speed to his advantage.
McCollum kicks to Labissiere. McCollum with the ball, and Crawford picks him up defensively. McCollum, no good.
Too ambitious of him there, guys. He tried to be a one-man wrecking ball instead of looking to kick the ball out for the better shot opportunity.
Spurs trail by 12. Outside, George. There's the pick. Labissiere, the pass to Leonard.
That's such solid, fundamental basketball on display right there.
You talk about all the time, Greg. Yeah, great use of the court to set up the dunk.
And that's a play that only works by practicing over and over and having a great rhythm with your teammate. You can see the timing there. Well, coming into the league, Kawhi Leonard was not a perimeter shooter, but he's developed into one of the league's finest. No longer a spot-up threat, though. He can create some offense on the block, able to handle the ball, and bully smaller players with that massive frame at 230, just moving defenders around.
Looking who's out there now for the Pelicans. Dejuan Moore, he's checked in for Jordan Crawford. And Tim Frazier subbed in for Drew Holiday. Frazier outside. And there's the pass to Hill. New Orleans needs to get off a shot. Davis. And he overshot that one, missing. And Brent, you look at the growing offensive role for Kawhi Leonard for as many touches as he gets. He hardly ever turns the ball over.
Well, have you seen his hands, Kevin? How would you get the ball away from those things? You just don't find players who can score in isolation, space the floor, and protect the ball as well as he does.
Moore outside. Kicks to Cousins. Davis sets a screen. No good from Cousins.
Well, the defense ready for him there in prevent mode, making sure that he didn't get a clean look at that layup.
Leonard dishes to Embiid. Pass to McCollum. Back to Embiid. Yes, it's good. Good for basket number 4. He's now 4 for 10.
And they've had assists now on their last
Get out here.
3 baskets.
It's caught. Now Leonard. He had 10 points in the win against the Kings in Sacramento.
And equally impressive on the backboards. I thought his rebounding was key.
Great fundamentals and mechanics on the catch and shoot. McCollum needs just the tiniest bit of space to get that release off.
Frazier kicks to Cousins. The footer. And block. That one goes careening off the glass. And there's the call on Joel Embiid. That is his first foul of the game.
And the turnovers will kill you. I mean, that's been their undoing thus far.
Cunningham, he's checked in for Solomon Hill. Pelicans leading by 3. Frazier kicks to Cousins. Moore outside. Shot to stop the drought. Off to a good start as he hits his first shot attempt.
Just a little confusion among the D as to who was supposed to be on it.
McCollum kicks to Embiid. Back to McCollum. A 3. Pelicans pull it in.
Not quite enough defense. That time around, just lucky he was off.
Frazier outside. Back to Moore. Fires for 3. Good, and it's Frazier who picks up the assist. Frazier's got his 3rd assist on the night.
The defense slacked off a little bit. Probably didn't think he would take that one, but he made him pay.
McCollum gets to Leonard. He dishes it to Labissiere. A 3 for McCollum. Again, McCollum missing.
No doubt he's struggling right now from the field. Let's see if he can get it going in this quarter.
And they get it back. And the whistle blew, so that'll be a shooting foul. Great defensive effort on the block shot. But he got more than just the ball that time. Free throws coming up right now. And DeMarcus Cousins, such a polarizing figure for coaches and fans alike. And this is dating back to his college days, even at Kentucky.
Yeah, maturing some, but obviously that fire burns bright within him. His passion is what helps fuel that production, especially when you start comparing him to other true centers.
New Orleans with the ball. Good momentum, 8 straight points. Stolen by McCollum. In transition, here come the Spurs. And there's the whistle on the shot. Took the foul, shot misses. He'll be shooting 2.
All the officials are all over that one.
The Spurs have made 2 of their previous 3 free throws in today's game.
Alvin, one of the best in the league at drawing up plays to free up a shooter. He's been doing that his whole career.
And he's good on the second. And Greg Gentry usually leads the league or is right at the top of it in terms of points out of timeouts for coaches.
Well, it may sound like a silly stat, Kevin, but you think about when it is that coaches call these timeouts. Usually they're either losing momentum or the other team is, and to come back with a play that gets you an efficient, good look at the basket for a score, that's impressive stuff.
Cousins will pass to Frazier, and that's out of bounds. New Orleans will retain possession. A different look now for San Antonio. Johnson comes in for Labissiere, and Bradley subbed in for Paul George. Monty Eunice is checked in for New Orleans. About 7 seconds separating the shot and game clocks. From the arc. Rebounded by the Spurs. And Embiid's got 6 rebounds in the game. McCollum kicks to Johnson. Back to McCollum. With 1 on the clock. He got up that time, but it wouldn't. And we finished one half of basketball. It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. Ernie Johnson here with Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith. This is the halftime show on 2K Sports. It was DeMarcus Cousins who got hot in the first. He had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks. What did you think, Shaq, about New Orleans?
Well, they really dictated the pace of the game with their transition game. They got out on the break every chance they had, and the time they could push the tempo, they did. And a lot of times it kept the defense scrambling like eggs with the cheese and apple juice.
And over to Kenny. What did you think about the Spurs?
Well, they're trailing in this game because they're shooting under 35%. Now, I've got to give a lot of credit to the defense, forcing the shooters off their spots and making them feel uncomfortable. But if someone takes something away from you, you have to be able to adapt. So they need a whole new game plan because right now they're in trouble.
All right, that is going to...
A spectacular aerial shot of downtown San Antonio, Texas. The Tower Life Building, front and center. We welcome you back. And the third quarter about ready to get underway. You look at DeMarcus Cousins in this game, he has been everywhere.
It's been about his ability to just lock down the opponent from a defensive standpoint. A lot of shots also being blocked.
Yeah, seems tonight to be taking the challenge on personally in the inside, challenging everything he possibly can.
CJ McCollum out there with Brent. Then it's Labissiere. Then it's Joel Embiid. And it's Leonard in at the 3 spot. So that's it. Greg Popovich starts the second half. Pelicans leading by 10. And Holiday kicks to Davis. New Orleans moving the ball around. The jump hook. That misses off the back. And San Antonio shooting at a 32% clip from the field. They're just not executing. Leonard dishes to McCollum. Feeds to Embiid. Good on the shot. And that carries the lead to single digits. Embiid's got the first points of the third quarter up on the board for the Spurs. Here's Davis. On the shot. He'll go to strike for 2. You can talk about franchise players, but Brent, Anthony Davis is the total guy.
Well, he does it all on the court, Kevin, and you're always reminded that he did play some point guard in high school. I imagine that. So it's not just that. He is a humble kid, a hardworking kid. He connects with his teammates and the community, and they rave about his character off the court. So you got it all with Anthony Davis.
George is checked in for the Spurs. This is to Embiid, and the foul on Drew Holiday. That is his first foul of the game. And here in the second half of play, we're just over a minute in.
And they're 1 of 4 here to start the second half.
Crawford with the ball. George picks him up. The feed to Cousins. There's Crawford with the 3. That one's rebounded by Embiid. Embiid's got 9 rebounds now tonight. Short. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line to shoot 2. It's on DeMarcus Cousins.
So the Pelicans, the way that their roster is constructed, they can play big or small. The question is which lineup works best. They have players who are great at one end, but can hurt you on the other. That's just a tricky balance.
And the Pelicans can load up in the middle. They can space the floor. Brent, what do you think suits them the best?
Well, you always look at the matchup first, Kevin, but ultimately a team has to become very confident in what it is that they can do and not concern themselves with the other team. I think they're best at spacing the floor and using Anthony Davis's quickness on the perimeter and in the transition game to really take it at teams.
San Antonio on defense. They've only allowed 2 points so far here in the second half.
They just cannot seem to throw it in the ocean right now. 0 of 3 from the field is not what they wanted.
And he's got an upgrade here, so let's catch up with David Aldridge.
Well, guys, we know Greg Popovich uses a lot of different tools to motivate his players. Sometimes it's the things he doesn't say that works best. Popovich said sometimes in timeouts, I'll say, I've got nothing for you. We just turned it over 6 times. Everybody's holding the ball. What do you want me to do? Figure it out. Get up and walk away. It's true. I'm now. Kevin?
Thanks to you. That accountability goes a long way.
They got to be more active on offense and maybe a little bit more aggressive going to the rim. 0 of 4, not impressive thus far.
Can't pass the fucking ball.
Crawford kicks to Holiday. And here is Cousins. 10 points for him. He feeds it to Crawford. 4 on the clock. Back to Cousins. And out of bounds as San Antonio gains possession. You take a second here, take a look at the shot chart.
And every time he's pulled up a beat and let it fly, it's found a way to catch iron. Not sure if it is something with his release or the defense is bothering him on his threes, but I would expect him to attack the rim a bit just to kind of mix things up.
Spurs trail by 5. Third quarter here, and 3 minutes have come off the clock. Outside Leonard. Down low, 6 on the shot clock, and the shot goes in. And that's 13 points for Joel Embiid.
They are just killing him on the interior.
And Holiday kicks to Cousins. Screen by Cousins. Pass to Crawford. Let's it go with the 3. And it's Solomon Hill is checked in for New Orleans. Off the clock now, here in the third. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot, Rusher too.
Great body control from Holiday. Gets the shot off while getting hit in the process.
First trip to the line for him here.
And going back to his performance at the line last year, guys, 84% as a free throw shooter.
And the challenge for Drew Holiday over the last handful of seasons, Brett, has been his health. A stress fracture in his right tibia cost him a lot of games.
And it's really hard to establish a rhythm in a game where the coach is telling you we're reaching your limit and we got to pull you out of the game. The former All-Star in Philadelphia, he's a guy they need out on the court, and he needs to continue to produce.
He gets it to Crawford. There's the dish to Hill. He set the pick. McCollum against Holiday. Davis setting the pick for Holiday. 5 to shoot. Holiday's got 4 points this quarter.
Yeah, that one definitely set up by the...
McCollum pass it to Labissiere. Back to McCollum. An amazing finish with a hand right in his face. McCollum's got 12.
And there's a pattern starting to take shape here. They're working it inside and getting good shots from close range.
Puts it up from 15. Kept alive.
The game has been very close in a lot of areas, but rebounding has been the one differentiator thus far.
Crawford pushes the Holiday. And another 3 for New Orleans.
Yeah, that's 2 bombs in a row from long range.
Spurs trail by 4. McCollum outside. Passes it to Labissiere. Bradley kicks to Jordan. Kicks it out to
That's
Bradley.
not what I fucking did, man.
George against Crawford. Chalk up 2 there. 7 points in the game.
Worked himself into the mid-range area. Smaller defender on him, so that's a high percentage look.
And I'll call here. The Pelicans decide to talk it over. At some point, all NBA players know when it's time to hang them up. Kobe went through it last year. What was the moment for you?
The moment for me, Kevin, was in Portland, Oregon, having been playing against the Portland Trail Blazers. A guy named Rudy Fernandez was on the Trail Blazers at that time. And Rudy played like the Roadrunner. He did not stop running. And I remember there was a play where I tried to chase him off a screen. He came around the screen, went up for a lob dunk, and I could not catch up to him. And I thought to myself, this might be a good time to think about the end of the
It happens that suddenly. You can pinpoint it to one play.
You know that every player can do that? But thank you, Rudy Fernandez, for the clear-cut message that was going to be my last season.
And the Spurs making a change here. Henson's checked in. A big group substitution here for New Orleans. Monteunitas is checked in for Solomon Hill. Cunningham comes in for Quincy Pondexter. Morris checked in for Jordan Crawford. And it's Frazier in for Drew Holiday. Outside, George. They swipe it. Cunningham kicks to Moore. So the whistle blows on the shot for 2 free throws for the contact right there. And now let's have a look at the teams that were last year's best from the free throw line. The Spurs second.
This was a good group of free throw shooters last year. It's something they really worked on in practice. And sometimes that's the coaches calling for it, and oftentimes the players doing it by themselves. Coach Pop often talks about the value of corporate knowledge, the procedures and shared philosophies that guide his basketball teams year after year. They're actually compiling a database called the Spurs Way to make sure that knowledge is passed down over time.
McCollum outside to the paint. It's tipped. Monteunitas with the steal.
This thing dribble?
And you think of the incredible success, Brent, the Spurs have enjoyed. You know it firsthand. You'd love to look at that hit record for the Spurs and see that wrestle.
Well, as much as there's X's and O's that go on in between the lines for the San Antonio Spurs, it's just very hard to duplicate or emulate what it is that the Spurs have been able to find in terms of the character of their team. That's what many franchises right now, Kevin, I don't think have a great handle on.
There's the pick. The pass to McCollum. 5 on the clock. Here's O'Quinn. Can't hit from in close. Pelicans leading by 4. And Moore kicks to Davis. Back to Moore. Pass to Monteunitas. The kick out to Frazier. On the wing. And again, no good by New Orleans. San Antonio's gotten blank from three-point land so far in the third. Still 0 for 3. The offensive rebound. McCollum with the ball. 12 points for him. Back to Bradley. Moore with the steal. And here comes Moore in the fast break. And it's blocked. And they're able to recover. Count that bucket.
I mean, dude, you can't fucking pass the fucking ball.
1:41 left in the third. They really want to find that igniter here.
Yeah, their offense has ground to a standstill.
Here's O'Quinn. A 3 from Bradley. It's hauled in by Frazier. It's stolen by Bradley. McCollum kicks to Henson. He takes it into the layup off a very nice feed. Henson's got his second best for the game.
When he's playing under control, which is most of the time, McCollum is very effective setting up teammates.
Monteunitas kicks to Frazier. Davis sets a screen. 6 to shoot. Feeds it to Moore. Good.
Let's get him a good shot,
Up the
man. Let him
assist.
shoot.
Frazier's got his 4th assist in this one.
And after really leaning on that three-point shot in the first half, seeming like they're just getting away from it here in the second. More of the shots coming from the interior.
The unfortunate thing for the Pelicans franchise is that injuries has been a constant for them the past few years. It's hard to explain, and it's been a real buzzkill for a team that was expected to become a factor in the Western Conference.
Johnson is checked in for the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard comes in for George. And the Pelicans also making a change. DeMarcus Cousins is checked in for Anthony Davis. McCollum outside. Goes up on the wing. A three from Leonard. The shot. No good. And New Orleans will go the other way with it. The kind of injuries that the Pelicans have endured, Brent, would hamper any team, but it's only served to highlight their lack of depth.
Well, when you have the backup to the starter get hurt, I don't know where else you go. I mean, they brought in some D-League guys and tried out some free agents last year and gave them some shots in some 10 days to see if they could find something that was going to work. So they have to have the health, Kevin, before they're going to move forward, and we can even start to talk about secondary moves.
Here's Cousins. This is from short range. The third quarter comes to...
Enough of that crap.